Hello, everybody. Today is May 18th, 2024, and this is about the thrill of the chase. So, you've all been waiting for fun and answers and for the correct solve to come out, right? Well, my name is Todd Sampson, and I have some exciting news for you. So, I'm going to show you 9 solutions that will take us from West Yellowstone, Montana, down to Santa Fe, New Mexico, all while duplicating each stage in the Passion of Christ, from his arrest in the Garden of Gethsemane to his ascension into heaven. Forrest said there are 9 clues in the poem, and they are in consecutive order. So the definition of clue is solution. So 9 clues means 9 solutions in consecutive order. So here's a few fun facts to get you started. So what does his name mean? Forrest Fenn. So Forrest, another way of writing forest is forest as in trees, and tree means the cross on which Jesus was crucified. Fen, another variation is Fen, which is a swamp or a mire, quagmire, which also means the cross on which Jesus was crucified. So the name Forrest Fen actually means the cross on which Jesus was crucified. Forrest was born in Temple, Texas. Temple means a church, chapel, a place of worship, or God's temple. He eventually settled in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Santa Fe means holy faith. And if you've read his book, The Thrill of the Chase, you'll see that it's missing a table of contents. Table means a stone tablet on which laws were inscribed by the Hebrews, ancient Romans, etc., such as the Ten Commandments. Content Content means contentment, and Forrest said contentment is a key word. Contentment means heaven. Content also means indulgence. Indulgence is the name of his treasure chest. And indulgence means suffering. In this case would be the Passion of Christ. And he did mention about the Rosetta Stone, which is a stone slab found in 1799 near Rosetta, which made it possible to decipher the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. And it also means a clue that provides crucial knowledge for the solving of a puzzle. In this case, the clue is the missing table of contents. And you're going to see throughout these videos here that all the definitions that I'm using actually come from a dictionary. It's not something I'm making up. And then we go to page 45 in The Thrill of the Chase, and it's titled In Love with Yellowstone. On their trips to West Yellowstone, Forrest's dad would drive about 50 miles into Wyoming to a cabin with a sign that read, "He who teaches a child labors with God in his workshop." And then in My War for Me, Forrest was shot down in the jungle of Laos during Operation Arclight. His rescue was coordinated by a Crown C-130 aircraft circling high in the sky. Crown, well, kings wear crowns. King is God or Christ. Arc in astronomy means the part of a circle representing the apparent course of a heavenly body. Light means spiritual illumination or awareness or enlightenment. I think you can see where I'm going with this. So Forrest ended his book, The Thrill of the Chase, with 2 omegas. The definition of omega is the end or ending, and it also means God or Jesus. And Jesus did say, "I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end." So there are 2 endings to the poem. One recited by Jesus, where the treasure is salvation and eternity in heaven, and the other is recited by Forrest, which leads to his treasure chest. Now, the solution to Jesus' poem tells you how to find Forrest's treasure. Also, Forrest wore a purple sweater and said it was his favorite color. So when Jesus was being flogged by the Roman soldiers, they put a purple robe on him to mock him. And in an interview with Toby Eunice, the interview at the Collected Works bookstore in Santa Fe, New Mexico, on October 22nd, 2013, Forrest started out by saying, "I always felt like I deserved a throne." And later in the interview, you hear Forrest recite these words: "Oh, tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream, for the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are never what they seem." Well, that's from a poem called Psalm of Life, and the Bible has an entire book of Psalms. Then we get into the olive jar. Olives and olive oil play a significant role in biblical narratives, representing both physical sustenance and spiritual symbolism. The olive branch symbolizes peace. In the ancient Near East, olive trees were crucial for food, medicine, lamp oil, anointing oil, sacrificial oil, and wood for furniture. For Christians in a post Roman world, olive oil became a holy symbol. Monasteries used olives for sacraments, food, lighting, and honoring martyrs who had been burned alive in oil for their faith. And then we have the Mount of Olives. It was named for the olive groves that line the hillside. It is a mountain ridge in East Jerusalem, east of and adjacent to Jerusalem's Old City. It is where Jesus would often go to pray. It is where Jesus rode into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey. It is where the Garden of Gethsemane is located and where Jesus was arrested. It is where Jesus ascended into heaven. It is where Jesus is supposed to return at his second coming. And Jesus was baptized in the Jordan River at the foot of the Mount of Olives. And the olive jar. So, jar means a turning or change, which means to convert. And the meaning of convert means cause to turn from an evil life to a righteous one. So, in other words, to find salvation and turn away from sin. In his book, The Thrill of the Chase, and several of his interviews, actually, Ford talks about getting switched. And switch means to convert, which means to find salvation and turn away from sin. Then we were told the treasure was found, and here enters Jack. So Jack means the male of certain animals, especially of the donkey. Jesus rode in on the back of a donkey. It means to raise, hoist, to lift up. So raising Jesus up on the cross. To injure or cripple. The Romans would break the legs of those being crucified. It also means to steal or rob. So the thieves on either side of Jesus. It's another name for John or Mark, and in this case, the Gospels of John and Mark in the Bible. Jack also means another name for Jacob. Jacob was renamed Israel after wrestling with God, and that's one of the stories in the Bible. Jack also means Marine, which is a soldier, and in this case, Roman soldiers. It also means pilot. Forrest was a pilot, but it also means Pontius Pilate, the person who is responsible for the crucifixion of Jesus. Jack also means cross, the tree upon which Jesus was crucified. And Jack also means a fraud or fake. And Jack did own or run a website for playing hoaxes. And in the treasure chest in the photos there, they talked about a pair of rusty scissors. So we have the biblical story of Samson and Delilah, where Delilah cut off Samson's hair and he lost all his strength. And then we had the little stick or branch that was in the chest. So stick means tree. And the definition of tree is the cross upon which Jesus died. Forrest's favorite fishing spot is 9 Mile Hole. The 9 Mile Hole is known as the graveyard. Graveyard is a burial ground, and where Jesus was crucified is called Golgotha. And it is a hill near Jerusalem where Jesus was crucified, also known as Calvary or the Hill of the Skull. And it is also a place of burial or a burial ground. Oh, Forrest was saved from the jungle of Laos. Forrest was saved from his cancer. And somewhere along the way, Forrest found God and salvation. And I'm going to share with you what Forrest wanted to, but couldn't, because it's the solution to the poem. So stay tuned for part 2.